Here's just one way I think that you can get this done. I don't know if you'll like the outcome, but it works quite well. So here we have a UX customers, and it's got a customers list. If I go, it's panel navigator. Just shut that down again. Panel navigator and a couple of panel cards. And the first panel card, we've got a customer list. It's based on a SQL table, and I'm pulling in all the fields. In the list properties, I've got the has detail view property checked on, and when we do that, we then get this detail view tab. So if I turn that off, you'll see detail view disappears. But if we turn this on, we get a detail view tab. Now, if we for the list layout, I'm just showing customer ID, first name, last name, and company in the list itself. But in the detail view, I'm showing everything else. We've got all our fields here. As you can see, all the fields are listed here, but I'm only showing for them. But in the detail view, I'm going to go based on a field map. You can also do a container, but the field map is straightforward, and it's got a nice feature to it as well. So if we click on this to edit this stuff, now none of these controls were in here previously. I didn't have any of the controls created, and you don't need to. All your list controls will be here to choose from, and then you can click this create new UX controls for all unmapped fields. So Alpha will go ahead and create all those for you. So you don't have to create any of them. And then it asks you where you want them when you're finished. So I just selected to put them into panel card number 2, and you'll see that process when you go through it. And that's all there is to this UX component. It's just a regular component. If I run it, there's no code running in here at all. So here we have a list of customers, and I can click on Evan, and I can click on David Mesner, and it just shifts over and shows me. Oh, there is an on tap. Sorry. If I go back in here to list properties and go to list events, there is an on tap event. Sorry, there's which does a panel set active to the second panel card. Panel card number 2 comes into view, and that's where the detail is. And that's all there is to that. Now, customer invoices. Here we've got panel navigator. Forget that button, it doesn't do anything. Here we got an invoice list, and we're just grabbing all the invoices for a customer. And customer ID is one of the fields in here. And list layout, I've just got all the fields, but in here I've added a new button. I've done the add item button. And here, and in the on-click event for this button, what we're doing here is we're doing a run action called open cust. So to create this action, all this stuff is commented out. We don't need that. We do create edit JavaScript actions. We add a new action, and then you'll see that it's red because we need to edit it and add some detail to it. And when we do that, we get this open empty panel. We can start adding new actions. So we do it like that, but I've already done that. So I'm just going to click here, edit this action. Now the action I've got on here, I've got a couple of things going. I've chosen open a UX component from this add a new action, and that one's right here. So when I do that, you get this dialog, and I'm opening up the UX customers component. I'm giving it an alias. I don't really need to do this, but I'm giving it a specific alias of UX customers. Again, I don't really need to do that. But here's the important bit. What I'm going to do in this case, you can do this like a number of different ways, and this is just one way to do it. I'm opening up this UX, giving it a target of a dynamic panel inside the invoices component. So Alpha is going to create a panel for me, put it in there, and then put the UX customers inside that panel. Here's my dynamic panel title, cache component. I don't think that matters, whether it's on or off. Refresh UX when it's opened, so that's fine. Let's see, what else is there? I think that's about it. Oh, I put this in here too. Now, user can close dynamic panel, but only when the panel navigator, if I pop back here, a few layers deep, panel navigator is set to a tab band, which is located at the bottom. I can choose where I want to locate it. So that's interesting stuff. So let's dig through this again. So because I've got a tab band running, I can let the user close this panel if they want to. So I've got that checked. And the other thing I'm doing is we need to refresh this data whenever we get into the this child component. The UX customers is a child component of our invoices. So we've got to run a bit of JavaScript in order to do this. And this, so I've got some inline. I added a new action. Click on Ajax callbacks in JavaScript, and I just added this action called inline JavaScript. What that allows me to do is actually put JavaScript in here. And hold on for a sec. So as I say, I've got this inline JavaScript which I've got to run in order to refresh the child UX customers component. So what we're going to do here is, I've got an extra line in here. We're going to go and get the child object. We're going to go and get that UX customers component object. So now we've got the object in here. We're going to grab the customer ID from the list that we just clicked on. So we just clicked on a button, so we're going to go and get the list from the current row that we're on. Then, because we've got this object in COBJ, so COBJ is our customer's object, we can do a dot set value into that child object. And we're going to set the value of the customer list, so that's our list, to the value of our current customer ID. So now we are in the child customer list, we've set its value, and now we're going to go and run the action to populate our detail stuff from the current value, and then we're going to go and move to the second panel card once again. Close that up, save that. So what that means when we run this, so here's our list of invoices, and I want customer information. So here's my customer ID. I've got 2 invoices for customer ID 1 and 1 for 2 and 1 for 3. That's our customer ID. So I'm going to click on customer ID 2 right now, and that's going to load my customers component into this component in a dynamic panel, and it's going to show up at the bottom, so I know what I'm dealing with here. And there's my details for customer ID number 2. And the great thing here is I can go previous and move back to my original list in the customers, which is very cool, and show a different customer if I want to. Doesn't matter. If you didn't want to do this, you'd just get rid of the previous button and there'd be no way to get back there. Now I can move back to customers and choose a different customer ID, which is in this case number 3. And so there's customer ID number 3. I can close this, and my invoices list will automatically slide back into view. I didn't have to do anything for that. I can move back to customers. And there's 3. I can close this down and have it load. So once again, if it's open, it's quite fast. It just moves there. But if it's not open, it has to be loaded into a dynamic panel. But it seems to work quite well. So that's one way to do it. Thanks for having a look.